Today we're going to take a detour from the Chicago outfit trials. And we're going to talk about my very first trial. And I actually knew most of the defendants in the case. It was the United States versus John Kappas, Dave Avery, Brian Bethia, Michael Keranen, Philip Laporta, and 18 others. The government charged that they led a multi-million-dollar cocaine operation in the southwest suburbs. Now here's John's girlfriend back in the day, Julie Craig, ex-playmate, old friend of mine, super pretty, super cool, very popular, party girl. She testified against John. She came to court all blinged out, Gucci, Chanel, Prada, and she told the jury how John lavished her with jewelry, gifts, and cash, helped them get convicted. Later on, she marries Dan Hampton. Now, the government alleged that Kappas actually had a couple kids he trusted in several of the high schools on the southwest side selling blow for him. And two of the kids, Chris Mandel and Michael Roden, got in big debt with Kappas. They were threatened by Kappas and his crew many times, and they ended up shooting themselves, committing suicide. Now, considering all the evidence and the government informants that they had against Kappas and his crew, rather than cooperate, which he didn't snitch on nobody, or take a plea, or be humble about it, Kappas came off very cocky, brash. He threatened the prosecutor. I mean, who does that? He even spit at one of the FBI agents. I remember Kappas and his entourage. We would all hang out here at the William Tell Inn back in the late 80s and spend literally tens of thousands of dollars buying everybody drinks, flashing jewelry. Now, going back to the 80s, in the glory days, we used to like to hang out at teen dance clubs, places like Medusa's in the city, or this spot here, Prime and Tender, 63rd in Harlem. This is one of Kappas's and his boys' spots, if you will. Every Sunday night, always lines all the way out the door. We would walk right past the line, no cover charge, no waiting in line. Here's another one of Kappas's drug spots on the southwest side, JC's Motel, 4-hour nap, right there on Southwest Highway in Harlem. I've been here many times. This is where we used to throw little parties and obviously score dope and bring all of our coke whores to. JC's Motel, 4-hour nap. Now here's another drug spot, if you will, back in the day of the Kappas crew. It was the standard BP Chemical gas station on 63rd and Cicero. We used to have a family-owned dry cleaning business, kitty corner from Midway Airport. We used to watch the drug activity 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Government alleged they made $10,000 a week out of this gas station. Going back to the 80s, this was a mobbed-up joint called Condesa Del Mar, after-hours lounge, nightclub, huge banquet hall in Alsip, Illinois. There was always drama, always fights going on in here. Easy place to pick up a chick. And this is just one of many spots for Cap and his crew to operate out of. Now, you can see here John was a stud, man. He had the boat, he had the cash, he had the women, he had the Corvettes. But rather than keep things low and be humble about it, he was kind of like a John Gotti. Everyone knew what he was up to. Him and his friends would flash thousands of dollars, cars, vacations. I mean, really living the Tony Montana lifestyle. Now, John lived it up when he was young, man. 21 years old. He would drive around in a convertible Corvette, wear a $10,000 Rolex watch, his pockets with thousands of dollars in them. And rather than keep it low, be humble, he would live it up Gotti style. And the guys that worked underneath John did the exact same thing, bringing them all down. Now, one night, one of John's drug dealers got pulled over. I think it was either Oak Lawn or Payless. And he called John up. John came to the scene and tried to bribe the guy with $300. The cop found a weapon in John's car and coke in the other guy's car. He arrested him. And then the FBI got involved with the indictment. Now, after a 15-month investigation, when everybody got pinched, Kappas went on the lam for about a weekend. He lived it up, then eventually turned himself in. They charged him and 18 guys with running a multi-million-dollar cocaine distribution ring. They were making $10,000 to $15,000 a week, using mostly beepers to communicate in various drug spots. But Kappas, he never got high like other drug dealers. Now here's a beautiful reporter from Channel 2 News, Giselle Fernandez. She desperately wanted to do the story on Kappas at the time. She went to his house, got her bikini, hung out at the pool, had some drinks, partied with John and his friends. They went on a boat ride. And after the story, she took a lot of heat from the network. She testified at the trial. Now, John thought when he first got pinched that he was going to the county building over there in 26th in California. And then he realized that they were heading downtown. And then he knew he was heading to this dreadful place, Federal Holding Prison, MCC, right next to the Dirksen Federal Building. And then John first realized he had serious federal charges. Now here's Assistant State's Attorney Mitch Mars. I've seen this guy put away all the heavyweights in the Chicago outfit. There's no better prosecutor, in my opinion, than Mitch Mars. He passed away shortly after the family secrets trial. And I remember I sat next to his mother during the trial, and she told me that during the John Kappas trial, he threatened Mitch Mars, so she had to have extra security by the FBI. Now here's federal judge Carlisi, who's also Greek, and we were hoping and thought that maybe because he's Greek and the Kappas family are Greek, their ancestors come from Greece, that maybe they would cut him some slack. But because of Kappas's threats to the prosecution, spitting at an FBI agent, and his overall cockiness, the judge gave him 45 years, but then on appeal, it got knocked down to 23. Now, during the sentencing phase, the judge scolded John and told him because of his cockiness, his brashness, his actions, and how he showed no remorse, that the judge gave him the max, 45 years in prison initially. Kappas went off. He started yelling at the judge, saying that, yes, he is a drug dealer, but he never killed anybody, and that he's a black belt in karate. Now, just picture being 21 years old and getting sentenced to this place. U.S. prison, Lewisburg. Place is like a dungeon. Kappas got 45 years. And he says in his book that his very first night, he saw somebody get killed. Now, John, he's fortunate. He comes from a wonderful Greek family. I'm actually friends with his brother and sister. His brother, Nick, went to Purdue, became a young engineer. I think his sister is an attorney. They own Kappas Liquors on Archer and Western and had several successful Greek restaurants. I'm sure their hearts were broke, but I'm sure they're very proud of John now. Now, John's very smart. When he was locked up, he did good time. He worked out, he studied, he stayed out of trouble. He got a college education, got a degree in culinary, and after doing 23 years in prison without snitching on anybody, he became a car salesman over there in McCook, countryside area, saved up his money, and eventually opened up his own hot dog stand. Now, I can say I'm very proud of John Kappas. I'm sure his family and close friends are as well, considering everything this man has been through, literally from being on top of the mountain to the gates of hell. John has completely turned his life around. Uh, he works as an advocate and speaks to a lot of troubled teens, getting them to turn his life around. He also wrote a very good book about his life.